This is a clip from the Cannon podcast. To hear the full episode and get access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.
You know, Arsenal have got a here we go, and we've got our fourth summer signing, David Raya, for £28 million, I think, rising to 30 with add-ons. Surprised, to be fair. I didn't think it was going to happen. When I saw the rumours, I thought maybe it was just a little bit of rumours. His agent speaking there, but Arsenal have got the deal done and surprised a lot of fans. And obviously, you got the whole Ramsdale versus Raya. Now, we'll talk about that in a sec, but what do you think the signing itself? Why do you think Arsenal have targeted David Raya and gone, right, this is the player that we need, and gone and spent nearly £30 million on him?
Look, there's two opinions on this that I've got, and I'll do kind of the more negative one first, which is, for me, I felt like this was always inevitable because I didn't see Matt Turner staying for longer than 18 months. And that was mainly because of the World Cup coming up and the fact that he wanted an international space. And look, Matt Turner's a very good goalkeeper. Like, he himself, to a lower degree, deserved a starting spot at a lower level club. And I just felt like he would push for a move a year down the line. So did I think that we would come this early? No. Like, I think I'd be, lying if I felt like this was the summer that we would make that change. But I did expect it soon. So I knew that it was a question mark for us. The one thing that I have to look at when I look at kind of, David Raya and I look at, the Matt Turner of it all is the profile. It's so similar to Aaron Ramsdale. I love that. Another thing, there are some differences in David Raya's game that, make me really excited in terms of the potential that we could see. And I look at basically Barcelona, Brighton, Man City. What are the common things with all of these types of teams? They're high press. They're able to come in. And one of the best things that David Raya has in his arsenal is, pun intended, the long ball consistency and accuracy. And so that's going to be a really interesting weapon that we could use right now that, of course, I think Aaron Ramsdale has, by the way. Like, I think there's been a lot of misconceptions. Who is the number one? Again, it's going to be shared. This is kind of a surface level conversation for me because it's the first thing that David Raya would have. Why would I move to Arsenal to compete right now when I could go to Bayern Munich, when I could go elsewhere and be a starting keeper for a top elite club? I think they've worked it out. So beyond that, you also saw the brilliant video that was going around on Twitter in terms of his training mentality, and I just think he's got the perfect personality for what this job is gonna entail. And I think Aaron Ramsdale, by the way, there's another video of himself even responding to the speculation with "Bring it on," and I love that. Like, I mean, I don't see why we can sit here as fans and debate almost 6 to 7 midfield positions when there's only 3 spots, and yet goalkeeping has this unspoken hierarchy that we just have to admit that we can't challenge. We can't have that. And, I think in the future, we're going to see a lot more teams have this kind of mentality where they're going to be looking for 2 first choice number ones because the quality is just too great, mate. Like, you can't sit there and assume that the FA Cup, the Champions League group stages are matches that you can go light in. I don't think we can do that anymore. So it's going to be a change for a lot of people. I'm really excited. Me and you both said this statement on Twitter where we both believe that we've just secured the best goalkeeping depth in the world for me. And I really rate David Raya as a player, as a man in terms of the squad, but I also think he gives us something different to Ramsdale that we could select specific oppositions for, which gets me excited.
Yeah, and I think one thing I've seen, and funny enough, it's come from Man United's fan base again. I don't know why they have this obsession with goalkeepers, but I can see it with David Raya. Is how is it going to work together? No top teams have had 2 keepers in the past, and it worked out. And the way I look at it is, as you said, Ramsdale and Raya are actually very similar profiles. And in the past, if you look at the examples of maybe PSG when they've had Keylor Navas and Donnarumma, they're different profiles of goalkeepers. And I think the reason why Mikel Arteta has signed David Raya is because you want that similar type of player that if, a change happens, you have to change the way your team plays. Whereas if Matt Turner comes into goal in a Carabao Cup game, FA Cup game, you have to kind of change something. You have to add something into the team. Also, they've got 2 very similar goalkeepers now, and I think Mikel Arteta has always wanted this. Let's not forget that he wanted to keep Martinez and keep Leonard at the same time. He wanted to keep the 2 top goalkeepers, and obviously keepers move and go. And I also think for Arsenal, it's a win-win. So if you sign David Raya and he's in now, and in a couple of years' time, one of our goalkeepers have pushed forwards and taken it to the next level, whoever that goalkeeper is, Ramsdale or Raya, Arsenal are in a better position. And ultimately what you have is a 5-year contract for Raya. I think Ramsdale signed a new 3-4-year contract as well. So these 2 players have got years left on their contracts as well. So in 2-3 years' time, if one goalkeeper wants to move, especially if it's Ramsdale, let's just say, English player, 2 years left on his contract, and he will demand a sizable fee, and he'll only be 27 years of age. So I think what Arsenal secured here is their goalkeeper for the next 10 years, whoever it's going to be. And ultimately it's a competitive environment. And you're going to have a more competitive team now because Aaron Ramsdale now knows if I make any sort of mistake there's a player behind me who's just as good, if not better. And likewise for David Raya. So it is that next level. But do you think in the signing of David Raya, will he take the number 1 shirt straight away, or is it he will slowly earn his spot?
No, absolutely not. Like, I think he'll have to work for it. And I think in the same way that, Aaron Ramsdale was bought with the idea to take over from Bert Leno started the season in the same way. And it's going to be up to the keeper that performs. And look, I'm kind of with you where everybody looked at the negative atmosphere. And I do want to acknowledge it because I do agree with historical precedent. I kind of brought this up on earlier sections of the pod as well, where, look, I look at Casillas and Diego Lopez as maybe an example at Real Madrid, Ter Stegen and Claudio Bravo, another example. Like, it's happened, but it's not sustainable. And I kind of do agree in that sense, where I am interested to see how long Arsenal can kind of keep this kind of competitive atmosphere alive for. I don't think it's longer than many years. For me, I think that, Aaron Ramsdale will keep his number 1 position. And I think that, David Raya will have to work himself into it, and that's what you ultimately want. And if you have a position where Aaron Ramsdale falters, you get a better keeper in David Raya. If you still get Aaron Ramsdale who performs a little bit better, then ultimately what you get is a David Raya who has stayed in the squad, who has got a really low value, because we did get him for quite low value comparatively. I think £28 million is arguably one of the better deals in the transfer market. And I think in 3 to 4 years, what is David Raya worth to the general market? I think it's above £28 million. I don't think his value decreases by being at Arsenal in a competitive atmosphere. And I think likewise, Aaron Ramsdale, if I'm not remembering this correctly, I think he's similarly £30 million in a total fee. Like, I think we bought him for 24 plus add-ons. So whoever wins the goalkeeping war gets sold for at minimum £40 million or more, and you make a profit. So I don't think there's an issue for us having to be sustainable. And I maybe want to throw this question back to you really quickly. Do Arsenal need to be sustainable in every single move that they do now moving forward, that we've achieved a trophy succession status? Like, we're not competing for top 4 anymore. Does the mentality of a fan need to change in terms of how we evaluate transfers?
100%. I think the way fans look at transfers nowadays is we've been used to a mediocre squad for so long that we don't kind of understand squad depth. And so when you see Arsenal being ambitious, you're thinking, no, this can't be true. There's got to be something wrong about this. Automatically assume the worst. I think that's what it is with not just Arsenal fans, but a lot of fans, they just automatically want to assume the worst possible outcome. I think for Arsenal, however happens, we're going to win this scenario because you've got 2 goalkeepers of high value. You're going to improve your squad. There is no way that Arsenal have let go of Matt Turner and signed David Raya and not improved their first team and not improved their squad. Arsenal have gotten better and significantly. And even in terms of profiles, if you look at the profiles that Arsenal will be targeting, Timber, Raya, Havertz, Rice, these are all calm and composed characters. Like, I obviously being in the game in Los Angeles, walking past Jurrien Timber, he's just such a calm guy. He walks past, you can just see how calm he is. And I think that type of character in latter stages of the season where, things are getting tough and people are losing their head a little bit, these type of characters are just calm and composed. They know what they're doing. They'll sort it out. And I think that's the right profile that Mikel Arteta is targeting mentally, as well as just obviously ability wise as well. But the market is still open and fans are still greedy. They want more signings and, wide forward, right winger for Saka, midfielder maybe to help Partey and Rice. George, is there any other areas that Arsenal need to sign this window?
Thanks for checking out the Cannon Podcast. To get full episodes and access to exclusive benefits, head over to patreon.com/thecannonpod and sign up for just £3 a month.